Hello and welcome to part 1 of the subject Medical Care in Korea. In this part we will see the medical care industry and how does the system works. So let's see the industry. First of all, in Korea we have over 3,000 hospitals across the country, and as you might guess, the majority of the hospitals are located in Seoul and Seoul area. The medical care in Korea is quite advanced and it's relatively cheap, and that is due to the medical care system, which is as follows. Basically, we have 4 different tiers of hospitals. The first tier is the smallest, and that's the clinic or private hospitals tier. And those are the hospitals that you can find in your neighborhood, and they would be quite small with not a lot of equipment, but they will also be the cheapest hospitals to go to. The second tier is the area hospitals. After that, we have the general hospitals. And finally, the biggest hospitals and the most equipped would be the university hospitals. They usually called after the university name. And they will be also the most expensive. So how does the system work? In the beginning, we will need to go to the smaller hospitals. And if they cannot solve our problem, we will go to a bigger hospital and bigger hospital and bigger hospital. And that system made to monitor the traffic that each hospital gets. So in order to go to a bigger hospital, we will usually need the referral of a smaller hospital. And this is how the system works. And this is why also it can be relatively cheap. Now, usually even in the smaller hospitals, the private hospitals and clinics, you will see some kind of focus. So it's not really general hospitals where they check everything. Usually based on the problem that you have, you will go to different hospitals. So if you have your problem with your stomach, you will go to one hospital. And if you have a problem with your eyes, you will go to another hospital, etc., etc. And to get a full medical check, there is specific process for that, which we will cover later in this course. As we mentioned, the equipment, the services, the fees are based on the hospital tier, and they will change from hospital to hospital. So in the smallest hospital, we will probably not see the same equipment that we have in the bigger hospitals. Also, the emergency rooms will usually be available in the bigger hospitals, so general hospitals and university hospitals. So if you have an emergency, you want to go to the bigger hospitals for the emergency room. Another side of the industry will include the Korean traditional hospitals, Haniwon, they called Haniwon. There you can get the traditional treatments and medicines. And those treatments and medicines are usually a little bit more expensive and not always covered by the insurance. So when you decide to go to Haniwon, to a traditional Korean hospital, just be aware that some of the treatments are not covered by the insurance. And even another side related to the medical industry, but maybe not just medical, is the plastic surgery industry. So plastic surgery hospitals are very popular and famous in Korea. Even those hospitals arrange travel packages to get the plastic surgery in Korea, and while you recover, to travel around Korea. So that is also something that they do. And finally, if we want to go to a hospital who supports English, usually the smaller hospitals, the neighborhood hospitals, the private clinics, they will not support English. Sometimes they do. But as it comes to the bigger hospitals, the university hospitals, usually they will either have an English support system or an allocated clinic as an international clinic. So this could be an option as well. And in the next part, we will also see some English-speaking hospitals. And with that, we finish part 1 of this subject. And as we mentioned in part 2, we will see some of the English support hospitals. And also I will give you some tips for your medical care in Korea. I'll see you in part 2.